Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello.
All
All
right,
right.
so let's go ahead and this
This
is
is
the
the
disclaimer.
disclaimer.
Anything
Anything
that
that
is
is
told
told
here
here
should
should
not
not
be
be considered
considered as
as
an
an
advice,
advice,
financial
financial
advice.
advice.
Uh, this is frustrating. My bad.
Can you hear me? All right. So we are in a different times. Right now we are in COVID times. So these are some of the things that we need to be doing. And basically stay home, avoid going out unnecessarily, do the yoga and exercise, wash your hands with for 20 seconds, hydrate well, do the right things. Now, today's topic, retirement planning. Why do we need to do the retirement planning? Basically, we all know that pensions have disappeared and the responsibility of retirement has transitioned to families. The uncertain future income stream. Previously, we used to have a certain guaranteed income in retirement, whether it is be pensions or social security and all. And right now that has become very, very uncertain. Increasing cost of healthcare is putting the entire retirement planning in jeopardy. And that is where we need to start doing this retirement planning quite in advance. Now look at the macroeconomic indicators. So basically, they're all flashing red, meaning what? We are exploding in government debt, internal debt. Before COVID happened, we had a huge debt burden, and with the COVID, the debt burden is increasing significantly, and families are forced to take more and more debt. Now, just about a month and a half back, you see this red number here, $26.6 trillion. This was about $24.4 trillion. In about a month and a half time, $2.2 trillion has gone up. What does that mean? That means we are taking more and more debt, and that debt has to be paid by somebody. Whether it is we pay it or our kids pay it, that is the fact of the matter. We are accumulating huge amount of internal debt. Now, we are forced to borrow, and we have become a very highly leveraged society, whether it is individual businesses or households or state government, federal government. We have become a leveraged society, meaning we are borrowing more and more, and that accumulation of the debt has to be paid in future. This is, look at the relationship between the GDP and the debt. It has gone up significantly in the last couple of decades. Now, these are the different types of debts that we are accumulating. The number one is mortgage debt, and student debt is just next to that. So these are the different types of debt that we are accumulating. Even though in fact, the mortgage interest rates are going down because we are supply of the money has become really huge. As a result, we are taking more and more debt and accumulating that debt into the future. So where is all this going? We are talking about retirement planning here. And the retirement planning is the guaranteed income that is there in retirement is pension and social security we were talking about. Now, social security, this is the picture as of today. Projected social security is projected to deplete by 2035. That means what? Whatever money that is coming in will have to be paid out. There is no trust fund that time, so all the beneficiaries will have to get the money that is contributed by the active workers. It is estimated that only about 75% of the benefits will be paid by 2035. And COVID-19 is not helping that. Why? Because of the huge losses, about 30 million job losses, because of the job losses, because of the payroll taxes being depleted, the money that is being contributed into the Social Security Fund is getting smaller and smaller. Now, it is clear that on a macro level, we are accumulating huge amount of debt. Just from the time of Obama coming into power, from about $8 trillion, today we are at $26+ trillion. And by the end of the year, we are expected to be at about $28 trillion to $30 trillion. And Social Security Trust Fund is getting depleted. And we are incurring more and more personal debt. So what does that mean? That means the future has become more and more uncertain, and we need to do real good planning so that our future is taken care of. Now, these are the seven different principles of generating retirement income cash flow. First of all, ensure that you make money that lasts forever. Diversify your assets. It is tempting that we go with the trend today and put all our eggs in one basket, only to realize that the cycles do happen, and what is in vogue today, what is in fashion today, will come down tomorrow. So we got to ensure that we have to diversify our assets. Divide your long-term planning into small, achievable, manageable time slots and period. So have a long-term plan. I need to accumulate certain amount of real estate. I need to accumulate certain, and then divide that. What do you want to do in 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years? Have a plan. Beware of investing solely for income. And taxes do matter, because tax situation is changing dramatically. In the last 10+ years, as I said, our internal debt has ballooned. At the same time, the tax rates have come down significantly. So as a result, we are passing on the tax burden to future, and we will have to reckon that. We'll have to pay down the debt in future, so the taxes will have to go up. So think about that. Remember that. And Social Security. Do we apply for Social Security the moment we are eligible at 62, or how do I maximize the Social Security, especially if both the couple partners are eligible for good Social Security benefits? How do you plan for that? And what is the role of guaranteed income solutions? We have to ensure that there is a guaranteed income to cover all the basic needs. So these are the things that we are going to cover today. Now, retirement plan depends on how long you envision your retirement is going to be. Remember one thing, we are living longer and longer. In 1930s, when Social Security was designed, people's their life expectancy was about 67. So they said, okay, we'll give Social Security at 62, 5 years, no problem. But fast forward now, after 7 decades, now people are living longer and longer thanks to good health habits and also advancement in medical sciences. As a result, the entire Social Security concept has gone under. We need to revisit that. And what is our own profile? And do we have a plan to take care of our long retired life? So if you plan for 5, 10 years, and if you are living 20 years, 30 years, then it is a huge problem, because you are running out of your nest egg. So we do need to plan for longer retirement life. Now, there are quite a number of tools that are available. If you go to ssa.gov, you can actually expect to plug in your numbers and a little bit of tweaking, you can get what is your life expectancy. So again, that is a general demographics wise, you know your what do you call genealogy, your how long your parents, grandparents, and then with the advances in medical sciences, what is that you expect to live with good health habits. Now, this is what is it looking like. Currently, people are expected to live, especially you are in a relationship, living as a family, 87 to 92-year-old. Now, that is a huge, long time compared to what was 67 years in 1930s. So that is where for those additional 2+ decades we need to plan for. Retirement plan. Now, how long your nest egg lasts, right? It all depends on how much money you are withdrawing and what kind of returns are you getting on your nest egg and what kind of inflation that is there. Now, look at this. Today, if you need $60,000 right here, today, if you need $60,000, you need $146,000 by the time you are 2050. Right? So you need to plan. That is at 3% inflation. What if the inflation goes up? It will be much more higher. And what if your what do you call returns on your nest egg doesn't go well? What if stock market is not performing and you are forced to withdraw with the added up inflation? You need to buffer. You need to plan for those. Now, remember one thing, not all costs are growing equally. There are some costs which are going very fast, that especially education and hospital services, healthcare costs. They are going at much higher, about 6 to 6.5%. There are other costs which are not growing as well, as fast. So if you are going to have a huge health requirements, you do need to plan for those at a higher in what do you call growth rates. As we age, healthcare costs are going up, and also one of the most important things is long-term care. That can be a ticking time bomb. Now, let's have a sound investment plan. And for this investment plan, we need to have an objective. We need to know what kind of growth rate that we need to meet our goals. And what is our thought process? Do I just consume? I'm okay as long as I live well, or do you want to leave an estate to your kids? And what kind of risk profile, meaning from the point of investment as well as from the point of health? And what kind of lifestyle you want in retirement? Do you want to maintain the home you are living currently, or you can downsize? All these points will impact the kind of retirement plan that you want to have. Now, to meet, people are working longer and people are working actually in retirement, either because they are not able to meet their needs with their retirement income, they want to supplement, or they want to have a better, what do you call, lifestyle to fulfill their needs. Look here, to meet their basic needs, that is making ends meet, 42% of the people in retirement working to meet their ends meet. And insurance benefits, to keep their insurance benefits like medical insurance, I don't have, I can't, what do you call, afford. So just to have the medical insurance benefits, 13% of population. And 23% of population are working in retirement because they have depleted the savings. And people who are actually, what do you call, they do not need to, but they are still working some because they want to fulfill their needs to stay active. Basic, that is what do you call, you are not forced to, but you want to work because you want to be active, or you enjoy your working. And I don't mind getting that extra income to have the additional purchasing power. About 67% of the people who don't need to work in retirement working said that. Now, we may be forced to make adjustments in the absence of strong retirement plan. That is, we may be forced to downsize even though you want to live in the same house. cut down on those extras like eating out, leisure travel. You may be forced to if we don't plan, and we may have to work for additional income or medical benefits and other benefits. Now, once again, the onus has shifted from governments and companies to individuals to ensure that they secure their retirement future. Now, healthcare costs are one of the big things. Healthcare and long-term costs are difficult to determine, so we need to plan carefully. Only 1 in 4 have a pension and retiree healthcare benefits. Pensions have almost disappeared. That we know that sometime before 1980s, almost everybody had pension plan. And starting from 80s, companies have realized that there is a small segment, IRS 401k rule, which says that companies can transfer their responsibilities to the individual's employees by contributing something to their 401k account, so-called. Thereby, they're not on the hook to give pension for a lifetime. Since that time, now it has become almost common in vogue that it is given that people are having 401k and not a pension. So that's where onus has shifted to families, and we are expected, each one of us, to be financial professionals, to look into the future, adequately foresee what are the financial requirements, what kind of health requirements, and how long we are going to live, all those things. The future of Social Security as itself is uncertain, as I pointed out previously. Now remember this, other risks that can impact our retirement include how long we are going to live and market volatility. Where is market volatility coming into picture? Because all our nest eggs we have put in 401ks, our retirement plans, whether IRAs accounts or 401k accounts, our nest egg is either ballooning in a boom time, bubble time, like what we are seeing in the last couple of months, or tanking so quickly, what happened in the months of March and April. So that has a huge impact. Our retirement has, it is dependent on the market volatility. Inflation is a big killer. It can be the biggest danger. Right now, that is not a concern, but the way we are printing cheap money, that is going to be a problem in future. And taxes, again, we are postponing our responsibilities, and we are again incurring all that. So future taxes are going to be a huge burden. Today's retirees typically follow this particular pattern. First, I take my Social Security, and then I withdraw from non-qualified accounts, and then I withdraw from my 401ks and all. This is the pattern that we are following right now, most of the people. Again, how much income, how income is characterized, what kind of taxes, it depends on what kind of income you have. Is it going to be purely as an ordinary income, or is it going to be long-term capital gains income, so that your taxation depends on that. And so the net income that you are going to keep will depend on what kind of income source you have. So this is where we need to plan well. And this is where we need to ensure that we build a sufficient nest egg in tax exempt categories. Most of us, we think that we are not going to pay taxes in our retirement accounts. Not true, because we are going to build, a lot of people are building good wealth. And when you're withdrawing your actual contributions today are postponing your tax liability. So IRS wants its cut from the income stream you generate, whether it is rental income, whether it is your Social Security income, whether it is your 401k income. So we have to ensure a certain segment, a certain proportion of our income is tax exempt, or at least long-term capital gain, which is much, much less. So today, if you see this is the tax, brackets looking like. A lot of people married, and they, 100 to 300. We are paying just about 18 to 22, 24% tax bracket. Not too long ago, that was more than 35%. And 2026, they are going to go back. And Joe Biden actually announced that once after he comes, if and when he gets elected, in order to pay for some of the obligations that he is promising, the tax exemptions or tax break, Some of them may be rolled off, or at least the brackets may be tweaked. So right now we are in a very low tax regime that is going to change. Again, our retirement planning depends on what kind of income we are generating, and one of the sources is Social Security. When do I file for Social Security? We are eligible at 62, and at 62, if you claim Social Security benefit, that will be forever locked in at 70% of the benefits. Meaning, if you are eligible for $3,000 total benefit, and at the first eligibility level of 62, you claim Social Security, that is pegged at 70%, that is $2,100 for lifetime. Whereas you postpone that to 67, you get 100% for lifetime. Postpone a little longer, it will be a higher. Again, one needs to weigh when to claim it based on their own financial situation, their health situation, and how long they expect to live, and they need to do the trade-off. Do I lock my rates forever at 70 if I'm going to live longer? Or if I'm expected to live at least 90 years, then I'm better off postponing it to get at least full pension or full Social Security at 67 or even a little later. Remember, Social Security income is taxable, whether you are individual or joint. And as of now, these are the current brackets. Between 35,000 and 34,000, if you are an individual, 50% of the benefits may be taxed. Now, more than 34,000 Social Security benefits, 85% of the benefits may be taxable. Again, that tax will depend on your overall income. It is not 84% tax is taken, 85% of your Social Security benefit is taxable. And these are the numbers for your, what do you call, if you are filing joint returns. More than 44,000, you up to 85% of your Social Security benefits are taxable. Now, your withdrawal order can determine how long your wealth lasts. Withdrawal order is what kind of asset you are withdrawing for your living benefits. Taxable assets first, tax deferred assets next, tax free assets, that is tax exempt Roth assets and all. Why is that? Because those assets can actually be transitioned to your next generation without any tax implications whatsoever. So we need to put a little bit of thought when we start withdrawing the assets in our retirement for our living expenses. The longer the assets remain tax deferred or tax free, the more after tax cash can be generated than the comparable investment in a taxable account. Now again, if you see this, we need to have a guaranteed income in our retirement that can take care of the needs. For example, your pension, your Social Security, and if a guaranteed annuity benefit. I don't want to depend on my 401k, planned 2 or 3 or 4% withdrawals to take care of my guarantee, my absolute needs, which is I need to pay my bills, mortgage if it is there, or rent it is there. Hopefully we are not, we don't need to, but property taxes and our living expenses, basic stuff, which are absolutely needs, they need to be fulfilled with guaranteed income. We need to ensure that. And then whatever the wishes, traveling the world, giving, supporting kids or charity, they can come from our variable or investment income. Now, a couple of quick points on healthcare. Healthcare is going to be a huge deal in our retirement. And this is when you talk about retirement planning, this healthcare cannot be forgotten. It has to be at the forefront. Now, Medicare, you can see eligibility is at 65. Okay, so we retirees need to make a series of important decisions between ages 55 and 72. What are they? At 55, if retired and you have a 401k, you may withdraw without IRA penalty. And at 59 and a half, it is a full retirement age. you can withdraw from your 401k accounts without any penalties whatsoever. And Social Security, the earliest first what you call eligibility is at 62. You can, but again, as I said, you decide whether you want to do apply for Social Security at 62 or wait a little longer. Full security, Social Security is 67 for most people, young people. If you are old, depending on when you were born, it can be 66. Maximum Social Security benefit is at 70 years. And then you have what is called required minimum distribution, which was 70 years. That is, what is that required minimum distribution? I have a nest egg of $1 million. Now, I don't need to withdraw from that because I have other streams of income, whether it's rental property or something else. I'm working. IRS wants it cut because they have given you an exemption all the way and you are not withdrawing, and they want their cut. So previously, before 31st of December 2019, it was 70 and a half. This year they made it 72. So once you hit 72, there is a certain percentage, so IRS says you must withdraw. If you do not withdraw, 50% of that is tax taken by IRS without even your knowledge. They will send you a note saying that X amount of dollars was taken out as a penalty, as a IRS, the tax you owe on the required minimum distribution. Again, this is a challenge. Before retirement, we need to worry about market losses and inflation. After retirement, they still matter, but there are other challenges that we need to face. What are they? Outliving the assets, how long, depending on how long we are going to live. Healthcare costs. Did you really take care of everything? Is Medicare going to cover everything? Or are there other costs that you are forgetting? And inadequate income for surviving spouse. This is the most important, especially it is a lot of people, women are expected to live much, much longer. And because traditionally they were not working, their Social Security was much less. And if the nest egg is exhausted, it is observed that women were left in a much poorer condition when the husband passes away. So these are the things that we need to worry about. Now, consumers estimate annual healthcare costs in the retirement. Look at this. Only 5% has actually guessed that it is going to cost about $26,000 plus per annum. About 76%, the bottom two strata, they had no clue how much it is going to cost or guessed too little, it will cost too little. That is 76% have underestimated or have no clue how much it is going to cost in retirement, the healthcare costs. Now, managing the cost of healthcare is one of the most complex issues facing us today. Healthcare costs will be one of the most significant expenses in retirement. One thing good about food is most of inflation part of his food is taken care, and inflation costs of food expenses are very, very less, thanks to US being world as such being producing good amount of food, especially in US. So that is not a concern. And most extent, a lot of people have acquired their own primary home or somehow managed, and they took care of the home part of it, living living expenses for that. But the one thing that is absolutely can throw a curveball into the retirement planning is healthcare costs. Now look at this. 38% have difficulty in paying the bills in retirement. 27% use up all their savings trying to pay the healthcare costs, and 16% borrow the money in retirement. Now 23%, this is what Medicare covers is only about 45% Medicare cost sharing provisions. Rest of it is coming from our pockets in different ways. So this is the reality. Even though Medicare is there, it is not covering us entirely. Out-of-pocket expenses are estimated for a 65-year-old couple in their lifetime to reach anywhere from $300,000 to $400,000 out-of-pocket expenses. That is, the Medicare covers about 80%, and above and beyond, this is what in order to take the Medigap insurance and to pay for all those what do you call out-of-pocket expenses. Medicare covers only about 62% of expenses associated with the healthcare services. Now, when do I apply? 65 years is the eligibility part of it as far as the Medicare is concerned. A lot of the folks audience here may not be in that age group right now, but it is good to know that what is there in future for us. 3 months before 65th birthday, it is recommended to apply for that. And 3 months after you have it, but sooner the better. Now, one of the most important things in the retirement is long-term care. Long-term care means that we are not able to live our lives on our own and we need external help. It can be because of disease, it can be because of an accident, it can be because of a pure age, or it can be because of cognitive abilities. Long-term care is the care you may need if you are not able to perform your daily activities. This is a huge deal. 7 out of 10 people are expected to have some kind of long-term care needs in retirement, but very, very few percentage of people have planned for. And to have some kind of a sense on how much it is going to cost, look at this. Right now in San Francisco Bay Area, the cost of the long-term care, this is community and assisted living, is about what do you call $102,000, which is a nursing home facility. It is estimated to go up to $280,000. That is today's 155 to in 2039 about. So bottom line, the costs that are going to be there are huge if we do not plan for it. This is per annum costs. And a lot of people think that, okay, if I build enough wealth and I can allocate certain amount of for long-term care. Often forgetting the fact that should there be a need for long-term care, you are forced to withdraw more and more money from your accounts. When you withdraw more and more money from your accounts, your tax bracket balloons. When your tax bracket balloons, to pay for it, you need to withdraw more money. As a result, we end up in that circle wherein instead of giving a good portion of estate to our kids, we will end up paying much more. Instead, one should pay plan for in advance and see how we can protect it from the point of long-term care coverage. Now, if we do not plan now, we may have to make adjustment in retirements, downsize, cut down those extras like eating out, leisure, travel, and we may have to work to get additional benefits, additional income, or to just have the medical benefits. So that is the background why we need to. With that, we need to go and start planning for what kind of retirement we need to have, what are the components that we need to have. So start the conversation with your partner. Why protected monthly income is important in retirement. Need for regular, reliable income, which is not dependent on the markets, and we are living longer and longer. How much protected monthly income is needed in retirement depends on you project your monthly living expenses. If you are able to pay off your primary home and you are going to have that, then that is a huge relief. But then you need to worry about your property taxes, right? Expected monthly income. What kind of monthly income are you foreseeing in future? Based on the trend analysis, based on the 3 or 4%, based on the amount of social security benefits you are going to get. And if you have a pension, that's all the more good. Or you have an annuities that is already in place, that's all the more better. Is there a gap once you do this trend analysis projection? What are my expenses and what is my income in retirement? 20 years down the line, 30 years down the line. And if you're having a surplus, you need to worry about how to minimize the tax burden. But if there is a gap, you see that there is a gap, especially after taking into consideration the long-term and medical care expenses, then we need to plan right now to take certain steps so that we do not have to worry about that. That is all part of the planning that we are talking about here. How much should be protected from potential changes due to market meltdowns? What happens if the markets are down continuously for 2-3 years? And if I have to withdraw from the markets, my 401k from my then the money that is withdrawn in the depleted markets, it lost its chance to grow back when the markets come back big time. So do you have alternate source of income? Now, retirement plans should be comprehensive and include income for lifetime from multiple streams. Remember that. The key is we are not dependent on any one stream of income. We need to have multiple streams of income. The multiple streams of income, what are they? Build a rental portfolio. When you build the rental portfolio, remember, do not over leverage. What do I mean by that? There is cheap money that is available, good. You are able to borrow lots of money. You are able to leverage because you're counting on your job and you're counting on the rent. What happens when the economy goes into a cycle and then you either lose a job or the rental market becomes totally soft, people are not able to pay, then when you over leverage, you are in danger. Even though you have a good portfolio, you will be forced to foreclose if you are not able to pay your obligated mortgages. So remember that. Ensure positive cash flow, always, always. It is very tempting, especially I'm a realtor and a lot of people now we have cash and market is red hot today. It's very tempting to acquire good properties, but if we do not have a positive cash flow, the long term, short term is fine, no worries. But in the long term, if you do not have a positive cash flow, then it is going to be an issue. Why? Because you are supporting that instead of that property supporting you. Do not overpay. That's the key. One more. Diversify geographically, not just in any one particular location where the markets are hot. Tomorrow, when the cycle changes, the method, if you are concentrated in one location, that's going to be a problem. Account for maintenance and litigation charges from the real estate. Have enough property and liability insurance. Never forget these things. The next source of income. Okay, you have guaranteed lifetime income from another source. What is cash value, IULs, or insurance vehicles. IUL stands for Index Universal Life. I'm a great fan of it for simple reason that it is a wealth building vehicle which builds wealth without market risk and without tax issues, without taxation, at the same time providing us life and long-term care coverage. But it has its limitations in the sense you need to fund it well. You need to start that when you are healthy. You need to start it when you are reasonably young. It doesn't work for me if I have a problem. If I have my one liver enzyme, there is a little higher, insurance company wants to protect itself, thereby they charge much more when our health is not good. And in order to build tax exempt growth over a long period of time, we need to have start it. So the key, good health is equal to good growth. Longer the time, greater the growth. So start early. Higher the investment, the larger the wealth. Why? Because after eliminating accounting for the insurance costs and other admin costs, there should be a significant amount left to grow compounding. Monthly income from the cash value, or you leave it, don't touch it. It can go to trust as a huge estate value. Now, annuities. Annuities got a bad rap out front, I'm telling. Why? Because people think that annuities are high cost one and they don't give good returns, often forgetting that they are there for a purpose. They are eliminating the risk that we want to avoid. I don't want to put all my nest eggs in the in the market, which is highly volatile. Annuities provide a lifetime income at certain guaranteed value. If I am keeping 100, 200, 300, half a million in a checking account or savings account for my retirement because my risk-taking ability has gone down and I want the liquidity for my benefits. That is what, instead you put it in advance, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, depending on it, your lifetime income for one person or both the people partners, it is a huge deal. And as long as people live, that is guaranteed. They are on the hook. There is no question about it. So that is where guaranteed life income. It is promised return, lifetime income, and principal protection. That's the beauty part of it. Then we have Social Security. We already talked about it, this particular numbers, right? So in my pie chart of income, I have my rental portfolio and I have my investment income. I have my IULs, I have my Social Security, and how do I maximize whether you want to take it early and you want to wait for full or a little later. Then you have your what I call retirement portfolio, right? Start, especially for the young folks. Now, most of the people are well aware and we are aware that we need to contribute. Take the maximum benefit advantage available from your employer, especially if they are contributing matching dollars. Do not leave the money on the table for the employers. You at least a minimum contribute to your 401k what your employer is going to match. If they're going to match 4%, you ensure that you at least contribute 4%. If they're matching 6%, you at least match 6%. But I recommend at any age, you do contribute the maximum if you are able to do so that in a long term, you will be building a huge wealth on an autopilot. Again, market cycles will be there when you are young. It doesn't matter, it will come back. And how you contribute, what kinds of funds you contribute, ETFs or depending on your employer provided plans, you have to do some due diligence and do some analysis. There's so much material available online and all the brokerage accounts and all, whether it's Fidelity or Franklin Templeton. There's no excuse for anybody not to be aware of how to invest in today's environment. Watch out for high cost funds, especially the costs are going to be a killer. A lot of times these funds, you have to, when you go and see that, they have the fund cost. If anything is more than 0.4%, it is high cost funds. And year after year, what does that mean? If it is a 1% or 1.5%, entire portfolio value of that account, the fund manager is taking that fees. For a lifetime, it's going to be huge cost. Pay attention to those. Target 3% to 4% annual withdrawal in retirement, not much more than. And as I said earlier, in retirement, from the nest egg, when we are withdrawing money for living expenses, if there is market downturn, I should be able to skip withdrawing money from my retirement accounts. Why? Once I withdraw money from the depleted account, that money has no opportunity to grow back. So once again, how do I live if I don't withdraw money from my 401 account? That is where all this planning is coming into. I am having different streams of income. If one stream of income either died or intentionally you stop, you should be able to survive on the other streams of income. Remember that. And investment accounts. Invest only from your surplus cash flow. No borrowing from your credit card, thinking that, okay, it is a 0% today, I'll somehow be able to double it within 12 months or 18 months and then pay it off. As long as the market is in a bull market, you may be able to do to a great extent, but should things change at all quickly, that's where we got. Credit card companies are not foolish companies. They know that when they spread the net far and wide, there will be some fish which they will catch, paying 24, 36% if they are not able to pay off those entire balance when the time comes. So be careful on that. Beware of hype and high costs. Today, unfortunately, the valuation for the stock market or individual companies has gone out of the window. Everybody is thinking that every company in today's culture, environment, is going to be the next Amazon. Amazon did not earn a penny for about 20 plus years. It has been reinvesting, expanding, and growth was the mantra. paid off very well, no doubt. And today it is absolutely a behemoth, and the, people who have invested and stuck to it are rewarded well. But the point is, because of that one example, going forward, every company will be like that, and the fundamental principles of evaluation of companies gone out of the window, and everybody is talking in terms of only future growth, not the valuation, is the danger that we need to be aware of. I'm not saying don't identify and don't invest in this, what you call high growth opportunity stocks, whether it is cloud space or any other space, but be mindful the cost we are paying. Today, it's so, I've been doing this for a long time, and when I see how I miss it, boom. Today, what do you call, stamps.com exploded 25% after the, what do you call, results announced, right? Oh, and how do you miss it, right? But at the same time, we got to get back to the reality. It's okay if you stick to your fundamental principles and also allocate certain portion for the risky investment, you are fine. Otherwise, we'll be caught. When we are doing investment individually, emotional risk is the highest. I have a number of cases where people withdraw at a wrong time, sell at a wrong time, and they move that money at a wrong time into debt instruments, thinking that they will be coming back and catching up the wave again, only to miss the entire wave. So we need to be worried about that, aware of those emotional risks in investments. And when it comes to individuals with high net worth, of course, there are so many avenues, including pre-IPO markets and all that, as it can be part of the overall retirement planning. If you are one of those individuals with high net worth and you can afford certain percentage or certain amount of, you may be already doing that. Now, final tips. I would like to show a couple of cases, a couple of examples on how we need to do our planning. What is that involved in that planning with this, all this background knowledge. Complete your will and trust, which one of the very first classes, which I think last session was college planning. Before that was estate planning. All of us, we need to complete will and trust. Make a budget and live within that budget, and invest in kids' future, college planning. Fancy brands, cars, Starbucks, I'm not a great fan of those. Think about, for example, a Starbucks twice a day costing about 10 to 20, $10 per person, $20 per couple, invested or a period of 35, 40 years of retirement. It is about $500,000 for individual, $1 million per couple at the rate of about 6%. So that can be huge deal. How we invest for over a long time of 40 plus years or 30. So we need to be aware of how the money is going out of our hands. Eat at home. It is healthy and it helps build wealth. Thanks to COVID, a lot of people are doing that. I'm not saying we should not have these simple luxuries in life and not going. I'm not saying that. But when we do consistently eat out, when we have this habit of consistently swiping the card without the fundamental understanding that money is slipping out, we are not seeing, we are only swiping the plastic, but we are paying a huge price for that. Both partners working, see if one can, you can live on one's single income and save the second income completely. Buy a primary home within the budget. Today, the money is so cheap, mortgage rates are so low. If you do not have a primary home, you should buy, but at the same time, be aware of the leverage. Pay off before retirement. Plan to pay it much, much before the retirement. Have enough life protection. A lot of times we ignore this life protection and build castles without a fundamental foundation. It doesn't matter I have these exotic plans, but if I'm out, if something happens to me, all those plans are gone. So your family is out on the street, or the beautiful mansion that you have is taken by the lenders. So have proper life protection. No amount of planning helps if you do not protect your family from this risk. Now, have long-term care protection. I already talked about it from a personal story. I'm very passionate about it. We both thought we have done everything well until it hit us like a lightning bolt in the form of a stroke for my dad. That is one area of long-term care which we never thought, we never imagined, we never, because we were not aware of it. Only when he was admitted to nursing home hospital, we realized that there's such thing called a long-term care cost, and then it can cost anywhere from 20 to 25K today per month. And if you are normal people end up in nursing homes, live anywhere from 2 to 6 years. Even if you are talking about 4 years, and do the math, about 200 to 300,000, and cost increasing at about 6%, it's going to be a huge deal. Plan for that. Plan for income from multiple streams, which we already covered. Target for guaranteed income, which can cover the basic needs. Basic needs should never be from variable income or income that can be affected by the market conditions. It has to be like the olden days pension check from the company or from the government, plus social security check. That has to cover all our living basic needs. Then we are done absolutely fantastic job. With that, I'll just show what it means. Basically, when we are talking about planning, everybody should do this, what I call a personal financial health checkup once a year compulsorily. We do the annual physicals. Just like that, we need to take stock of our situation once a year. Annual financial physicals. So what do we cover in those? Essentially, we look at everybody's like what is my debt profile? Where do I stand? Do I have what do you call? Do I have a lot of bad debts like credit card, or do I have good debt? And even that debt, if I'm retiring, I'm nearing retirement, can I afford that debt? That is what we talk first. Then how is my money slipping out of my hand? What is my how am I burning the cash? What kind of expenses are there? How do I fare? Do I have too much of living expenses, or mortgage is too high, and kids activities are too high, or travel is high? Do not skip any item. And when you add up, that really opens our eyes up. That chai latte twice a day can add up huge. 2 people, think about it, Starbucks, $10, 300 times 2, $600 without knowing. Then what is my income? How am I faring? What kind of contribution I'm making from the income, and what is my net pay? That net pay is going to cover your monthly expenses. And after that, do you have any cash flow whatsoever? So this cash flow, we need to have the green number, and from here, this is what we build the wealth. The bigger the number, the better the opportunities it gives us on how we can invest. Now, over the period of last 5, 10, 20 years of our work life, how did I build my income, wealth? Am I concentrated only on my investment brokerage accounts, or did I do a good job of distributing properly? The first category, the tax now category, shows that you are concentrated in tax. Any wealth that you build here, you need to pay your regular income taxes here. And depending on if you have capital investments more than long term, maybe capital gains will be a little less at 15 or 20%, depending on your bracket. Then your retirement accounts, where you're not paying essentially today, but you are postponing your obligations for post-retirement withdrawals. How well are you doing? This is where you need to ensure you are contributing your 401ks compulsorily. I have seen time and again, especially 10, 12 years, people are here working. And when I see their retirement accounts, 60,000, 70,000, 80,000. If you're contributing 19,500 today, even assuming your 15 years back, it is 15,000, you know how much it should be, right? Then what is the reason? And in addition, what about the growth, market growth? Most often the excuse was they were either the company was not contributing, they were not aware, they thought they will go back, or whatever the reason, they have not contributed enough, thereby even leaving the company matching dollars. So pay attention to that. Then this green one, I call it tax exempt category, where whatever money you are investing here is the money that is post-tax dollars you are investing. So you do not need to pay taxes. Even though you invest in the here post-tax dollars, anything that you build, you need to pay taxes right off. Here in the green one, tax exempt category, you do not need to pay any taxes. So some of them are your Roth IRA, Roth 401ks, municipal bonds, which give about 2 to 3% or whatever. 529s. 529s for kids, if you're bringing too much money. Last week was an amazing session. Hopefully you attended. 529 may be one of the what do you call choices if you're bringing too much money. Otherwise, there are better ways to invest. Then you have cash value, IULs, what I talked about it, giving life coverage, long-term care coverage, and building wealth year over year up to 13, 14% when the markets are going up. When the market crashes, you are protected at 100%. And the beauty is 7702 accounts, you don't need to pay any tax on that. Are you building wealth there, enough there? So we need to ensure that we have this spectrum, this pie chart, where each segment is taken care of. And then what is your, what do you call, protection? Do you have enough protection? Look at this. If you are 45 and under, ensure that you have at least 15 times your annual compensation as protection, life protection. And one more thing, de-link it from the employment. If employment is there, they're giving it, take it, maximum coverage, supplemental coverage. In addition, you should be outside. Why do I say that? You may lose your job, and then when you want to go and protect yourself, your health has changed and you may become uninsurable or highly expensive insurance. Then you may want to, on your own, you quit to do business or job, same thing. So always de-link. And when you're young, take a longer term, 30, 34 years, all the way. Protect yourself, and that is pennies on the dollar. Why? You are like a pre-IPO stock when you're healthy and young. When you're old, it's a mature, expensive stock. So insurance is always, you take it as pre-IPO stock when you are in your 20s or 30s, or even for early. So the moment you realize you are in a healthy condition, early, cover it. Above 50, at least 10 times you need to have coverage. So why? You're already at a certain level, your incomes are higher, your kids may be almost out of the your books. That is what we recommend. And account for your obligations, kids' education or otherwise. So see what is your total requirement, what you have, and then you come up with what your net coverage that is needed. Then your other properties. And then what is your target? At what age you want to retire? And then do the extrapolation, do the trend analysis. Today, if you are having 10,000 expenses, living expenses, which include a little bit of kids' activities and your mortgage. In retirement, you decide you may be paying off the mortgage, but then you may want to travel the world. That may replace this mortgage expenses. So to be conservative, take the current expenses. But it again depends on individual. I don't really need to do that. I can only downsize this. You do that. And there are calculators that are available doing a trend analysis up to based on current inflation at 3.5%. What is it 20 years down the line, 15 years down the line? What is my monthly expenses going to be? Again, because we're not doing once and forgetting it, we're doing every year. So you will be updating the numbers as needed. And then what is the income that you are going to get from what are the different sources? Your nest egg, your brokerage account, your 401k account, and your rental properties, your social security, and your annuity or your IUL, whatever you want. Add up all of them. Then there's a gap or there's a surplus. If there is a gap, we need to ensure that that gap is not there by reducing our expenses or generating an additional stream of income, and then put in place. This is how it should. Now, in this particular case, there's a gap that needs to be bridged. What do you do? That's a question. When you know that there is a problem, half the problem is solved. Otherwise, you're not even aware. We are kind of so busy day to day. We just go, okay, we're doing a job. There's a 401k contribution. I'm okay. No, you're not okay, because there's so many things can go wrong. Today in this world, if you have one job and then one stream of income, that is no income at all, because that income can vanish just like this because of reorg, because of work from home. Companies recognize that you don't need to have resources in US. It can be from Malaysia, it can be from India, anywhere. The jobs can go without any warning whatsoever. So we need to ensure that there is proper distribution and solid income stream, multiple streams. So this is the trend analysis from 40 years, 60 years, 65, 70, all the way to 100. This is how I recommend people do that. Sit with your financial advisor or whoever that is. And there are different categories you need to account for. And at the end of it, you need to see that there should be green numbers, especially take into account your long-term care expenses. This potential long-term care is a huge deal. In this case, I have not added up because it is pretty scary. The moment you plug in those numbers, you see the red one here, the moment I open it up and add it, these numbers become red. So for this particular family, he has not taken care of that. This particular red line need to be covered. So at the end of it, you need to see all green, and you know that you've done your job, or at least you know what needs to be done. So this is a summary you need to be able to have. What is the current status, what you want to achieve at what time, and current expenses and what is the income, what is the gap, what needs to happen. These are the steps that you need to put in place, right? So with that, we come to the end of today's session. And if there are any questions, please type it in the chat. Excuse me. Leela Prasad Garu, anybody, can you talk? Okay, let me check. Okay, Leela Prasad Garu, you should be able to talk.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
So there is one question on the YouTube channel. I think you can open up there.
You are opening, or you are asking me to?
Yeah, you can open up there.
When I open it, it goes into the tree.
So let me read it out. So when you withdraw 34K plus individual or 44K plus for joint from any retirement plan before our retirement, our social security benefit will be taxed at 85%. Can you clarify that?
Can you repeat one more time, please?
When you withdraw 34K plus for individual and 44K plus for joint from any retirement plans before our retirement, our social security benefits will be taxed up to 85%.
Okay, so what it means is your taxation, the social security benefit is added to your monthly income, that different sources, and your social security up to 85%, that is 44 times 85, is added to your taxable income. It is not 85% taken taxes. So what does that mean? Do I need to only ensure that my income level is less than 44,000? No, I would like to be in a much better, higher bracket and pay for those taxes. But rather than be in a very poor condition and not able to, and then trying to save on social security tax per se. Bottom line is why it is important is if you only have limited sources, if you plan ahead in advance, if you are able to invest and build wealth in the tax exempt categories, that income is not added to your taxable income. So that is the message.
Okay. So the other question, how much should they put in 529 account to avoid issues of getting disqualified from any grants from school?
That is a huge deal. Individual, that is each person, there is what is called effective family contribution. Last week, I'll move forward in extension. So what are the factors that contribute to the the college's stake into contribution? 529 is the money that is first and foremost that is seen by the colleges, that is saved in the name of the kids. So that is where it is important that before you contribute open that, you explore other opportunities, other avenues on how to build wealth, which is not seen by the colleges right off the bat in 529. So as once again, 529 is a great instrument if you are bringing too much money and you can't escape. But for most people who are in the bracket of 100 to 200, 300,000, there are other alternatives than investing in direct in 529. Remember, 529 is what happens. When you invest in 529, the money is exclusively marked for colleges, education, and it is in the marketplace. So your 401k, just like your 401k, this is also exposed to the market conditions, whether ups or downs. Second, because it is seen right off the bat, the first thing that is taken into family effective family contribution, so that one kid has 50,000 in college, 529, other kid does not have that. His parents may be wealthy enough, but they stash their money, build their money in the tax exempt categories. Then the kid who actually needs, because 529 money is there, his application goes down the pile for scholarships and student aid. So how do you manage that? That is the planning. That is the college planning. So please reach out there. I can give the contact information of the college planners, and you can go and talk to how to effectively plan for it.
Okay. Is IUL better than 401k?
That's a very, very beautiful question. Now, depends again on every individual scenario, but if possible, if you can, as I said, you have to contribute 401k to take the benefit of matching contribution from the employer. Now, my employer only gives me 6% or 4%. So should I put the balance money in 401k or in IUL? What's your age? What's your health profile? One, did you cover for your life and long-term care planning and all? So based on that, my recommendation, if the resources are finite, you ensure your 401k is contributed to the employer matching, and then go for IUL, which gives you this life, long-term care, and also building the wealth without any tax consequences. Assuming I can afford, I have that, when you saw that spreadsheet, right? When we do this, this is where the cash flow, positive cash flow is seen here. Cash flow is 4,000. So in this case, you have options. When you have positive cash flow, you have options. Assuming those options are not there, message is simple. Contribute to the extent employer can match, and you are young, go start your IUL.
Okay. So the other question is, the employer provided supplemental life insurance IUL, or is it different? Where to find IUL plans?
Okay. Employers provided plans are only the life plans. They are not IUL plans. There are certain, employers who give executive compensation packages where they have the IULs. Because remember, IUL, they consider it as a rich man's tool to hide the money. Why do I say that? The higher you hide it, the higher the potential to grow. And it is tax exempt 100%. What employers are giving supplemental is only life coverage. So if you are talking in terms of IUL outside, this is my information. You can get in touch with me. I can direct you to the right person or give you the information.
Okay. So there is one question on, do you have any advice on how a portfolio should be distributed in 401k accounts?
That is where you sit with your financial advisor, and if you do not have one, or if you want to do on your own, depending on which brokerage account, there are now tools available, your retirement strategy tools, which basically ask you a bunch of questions. What's your age? What's your risk profile? What do you prefer? How long you have for retirement? And based on that, they suggest certain portfolio, what in long term, short term, and in the year denominated funds and all. So having said that, the ground rule is, if you're young, they always talk about 80-20 and all. You have 20% in debt instruments, 80% in the stocks. Again, what kind of stocks? Between large cap, small cap. So your age, your risk appetite will govern those. I may be a little senior in the age, but I may, based on my distribution, my certain amount of my brokerage account, I may be highly risk taking, doing certain advanced strategies. It may not fit you. So is there a one single answer? No. You have to understand what is your age, when you are planning to retire, when do you need the money. Why do I say this? For example, you invest everything in the stocks. You are about to retire. When you are about to retire, a market crashes, bear market. Excuse me. Sorry about that. When the market goes into the bear market territory, then you are not able to take the money out. The money has depleted. So that is where with age, we need to tweak the portfolios, going between the debt instruments and the stock and fixed portfolios, and also planning for annuities and all that. So if you're young, you will be mostly concentrated in stocks because you have a longer profile. As you're nearing retirement, your stock portfolio will be less compared to your income portfolio, debt instruments.
Okay. So the question, I have another question. Is there a way to have all 401k money cashed out when market is at peak and reinvest after correction? Is that a good strategy? Any penalty for that?
When you say cash out, don't think of taking the cash outside. Your 401k from your employer gives an opportunity for you to sell. When you go and try to do the balancing in the funds, there is what is called a money market account. That money market account is nothing but cash account, right? Maybe giving a 1% or maybe giving 0.5%, depending on what you have. So those are the accounts you move from your large cap, small cap, artisan cap, international funds into those into the money market. And then when you think market is good, you move them back. That is where the challenge is. Did anybody think from February 19, 29,951 stock market Dow, falling to 18,000 or so on March 23rd, and within a month time, and now within 2-3 months, again, erased entire losses and in the positive territory. I have few cases where absolutely at the low, people were so panicked. That is the time when they have actually cashed out and kept in the debt, what you call money market. And then they thought we can time it, but market has come back big time. Analysis shows that in a, what do you call, if you miss 5 biggest moves in a stock market, you are losing about 50% of the growth. Those markets basically gives those 5 big moves on in analysis. So we miss those 5 days, we are really missing the whole thing. So unless you are one of those who are on a regularly watching market and you know what you're doing, if you're young and time is on your side, you stick to the standard, what do you call, allocation strategy and stick with it. But then you know what you're doing. I know this is frothy. I have moved the instruments into one of these highest high flying stocks. So I know it. Okay, go ahead and move to money market account.
Okay. So one question. So you mentioned about something about minimum something. I don't remember the name on that.
Required minimum distribution.
Yes, required minimum distribution, 72 years, extended to 72 years. And if you don't maintain that required minimum distribution after 72, a portion of that will be automatically deducted in tax. Can you explain more with an example?
That what is the required minimum distribution depends on what is your portfolio value. So for example, I said I have $1 million in my retirement account, 401k, which or IRA, which I have been building up. But because I have my rental portfolio or I have other streams of income working still, even at 70 and half previously, now 72, I don't touch my 401k. So what is the exact percentage of your nest egg? I need to do, I think it's about 4% or 4. We can check that. So if I don't withdraw that 4%, the IRS takes 50% as the tax that is owed to the IRS. So if on a 1 million, 40,000, 20,000 is taken by IRS. What is the exact percentage of RMD? I don't have on top of my head, that we can check it out. So concept wise, you are so rich, you're not withdrawing and the IRS is not getting its share of taxes. So they will force you to do that.
Okay. So that's all the questions I have. So anyone who want to reach out to Azad for any of your financial planning or anything, refer Samasti when you call him on his phones.
Okay, you have the required minimum distribution calculator that is available. So you plug in your number and it gives you what is the amount of RMD. On Google, open required minimum distribution calculator, plug in your numbers. It will give you the percentage of, what is the amount.
Okay.
And one important thing I forgot to mention, this year, they passed what is called a Secure Act. With that, there's one, in addition to the RMD age limit changing to 70 and a half to 72, they have also made one huge difference, change to IRA accounts. Any inherited IRAs, after this January 1st, the time that is available for kids is 10 years to exhaust, empty those accounts. That means if a couple or family passes away and the kids inherit the IRAs, that IRA, whether it is 1 million or 10 million or whatever the amount, kids have just 10 years to withdraw the entire money. Previously, before 31st of December, they had their entire lifetime to withdraw. So they could time it when they didn't have incomes, when they needed. But now it is 10 years. What does that mean? If the kids are really doing well in their own lives, but they are forced to withdraw all that money in 10 years, their taxes will be huge. So if you are one of those lucky people to have good amount of wealth, plan in advance to build certain wealth in kids accounts and after taking care of yours, of course, and build in their account so that you will avoid this trap of what do you call IRS, inherited IRAs paying too much taxes. All right, so let me check. You are seeing any in the chat session, or you covered everything, Andy?
I don't see any in the chat session here, unless they are exclusively asked to you.
Okay. Well, I don't see anything. What are the parameters? Social Security and District Credit Award. Okay. I don't see any more. Well, thanks a lot for taking your time once again to be with us. And next week, we are going to have a very good session. And let me open up the, you have.
Yeah, it's about Social Security.
We have a Social Security session. Let me open this session.
So the next section, class 6, is on Social Security. It is on Thursday, 13th August, 8 p.m. to 9:30 by Douglas A. Ewing. He's the VP nationwide.
Yes, and he is really good. He's going to talk about Social Security and also a week later on healthcare planning in extensive covering what I just touched this today. So Social Security and healthcare, I just touched them. In depth, he will be talking about with examples is really good. And please tune in next Thursday, 8 p.m. for Social Security, and on August 20th for healthcare planning and retirement. Again, Thursday at 8 p.m. With that, we come to, and thanks a lot. And once again, apologies for the initial hiccup and technical difficulties I had. My system just froze, and so I was scrambling. You could see that. So sorry about that. Next week, we'll ensure that we don't have those. Once again, have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.